Hello. Okay, ready? I'm going to do my second clap, even though Thomas is probably going to keep this in anyway. Hello. It's Dahlia.
And Nicole, your favorite host.
And this is Ouch My Ass. I had to start that because we just finished coming from the farmer's market, because that's what we love to do on Saturdays. Well, Nicole does. I do too, but anyway. And this guy was asking us to sign something, and we didn't end up signing it. And I was like, oh, follow our podcast. And he said, ouch my ass.
He's like, oh, what's it called? Oh, ouch my ass.
Because he read our t-shirts.
So mortified. Like,
yeah, he was serious too. Like, he read it like clear, like, ouch. And I'm like, it literally says quiche.
But he looked like, oh my God, like he looked embarrassed for us. So I felt that was a very interesting. I wanted to go back and be like, hey, bud, like it's not
Nicole
ouch.
was like, we literally were leaving the farmer's market, which was like 45 minutes later. Nicole's like, I want to go back and tell him it's not ouch. I'm like, no, we don't need to do that. We really don't. So
anyways, this week we have a podcast that is just going to be Dahlia and I. We do not have a special guest.
We're sorry, but we hope you're enjoying your Monday.
We do. And but this is something that Dahlia and I are both very
passionate
about. We want to talk to you.
We know a lot
about events. We want
just
to
events.
We want to
share private events, weddings. Like, we're this whole episode. Like, if you're not about it, you don't have to listen to it. But like, this is literally like,
we're going to talk about our best events, our worst events, crazy hosts, places we've been
crazy
we never
host,
thought
we'd
what it
sounds like.
hosts or hostesses, places we never thought we'd end up, and
the kind of pressure we have to deal with when we're actually doing these kind of events. We chose the catering life, and that was our fault.
Well, it was very rewarding. I traveled the world.
I think
with
it's very rewarding. I think it's probably the most rewarding of them all. Besides, like, when you make the big bucks, then that's more rewarding. But
yeah,
you know. But yeah. So, any news this week that you want to talk about before we get into this episode?
I don't think so. I think I want to just get right into it.
Okay. I started a new job, guys.
I feel like every week people are like, is Dahlia ever gonna start? You started, you chose, you started.
I started a new job. It's not in the event world. It's just a private chef gig that I absolutely love so far. But I'm still picking up side catering jobs. So still in this world.
Yeah, but are you allowed to talk about who you're working for?
No, I signed an NDA. I signed more NDAs in the past month than I have like any, which is crazy that me and you didn't have to sign one NDA the years that we worked catering for like the whole entire Manhattan. Like,
yeah,
we walked into too many homes where I was like, maybe we should sign an NDA.
We should have signed NDAs.
And we'll get into that where like I think some of the servers should have signed NDAs because like,
oh yeah,
there was a lot of pictures being taken and like we can't even take our phones out because like we are just working so much.
Yeah, and it's really rude and disrespectful to take pictures of people's homes if you don't. If you've never been there before, it's just awkward, or they think, who knows what you need those pictures for.
Pictures of the craziest paintings, like $1 million paintings.
Yeah.
Which is like insane. We'll definitely talk about the craziest parties we've been to. And we'll also talk about like the rewarding factor of it. But I would like to ask Nicole first, how did she end up in this world?
So, in the catering business. So I in between jobs, after working in a restaurant for a while, I decided I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. It was kind of when I decided, like, do I go to culinary school? Do I not? So I ended up starting cooking for a family, helping this woman. She wanted to learn how to cook better. She didn't really know how to cook. So I was young. I'm like 18 doing this. Like, Thomas and I were dating at this time, and it's crazy because we've been together for so long. But
and the wedding is like 5 months from now.
Yeah, but we so I was cooking for her, and I just realized, like, wow, I left a restaurant and I'm still cooking. And so then I found this catering company online, and it looked really, like, the food looked great. They were very sustainable, called Eat and Smile Catering, and
That's so weird, because the sustainable one that I worked for was Easy Entertaining.
Oh, that's weird.
That's so weird. Shout out, by the way. Shout out to you guys.
Exactly.
I don't know if they're still going.
They are. And
awesome.
so I I just sent an email and I was like, but I also sent it to like 10 different emails, different catering companies. I'm like, maybe this is what I want to do. But the only one responded was Oliver. He was my boss. Well, he wasn't yet, but he was like, yeah, sure. Would love to meet you. Can you come do an event this weekend? And I said, yeah, sure. So I went. It's in DC, about a 45-minute drive from where I lived. And I was totally unprepared for how bad the parking situation was going to be on a Friday night. I had no idea.
Oh, that's what you remember.
Now I know, but it's true. No, because I was an hour late to this event because I couldn't find parking anywhere. I was searching everything.
And you got the job.
And somehow I got the job. And I explained to him, and he was like, it's okay, I know. It's your first time. I don't know. I thought I knew the city well enough growing up that close to it, but I learned that I did not. But I really liked it. I liked that I think it was inside the Carnegie Institute of Science, and it was beautiful. It was a wedding. To be honest, nobody would have even known if I showed up or not because I was new. They didn't count on me being there. It was just...
Or being a hand.
Yeah, I was just there to be an extra hand, but it was so beautiful. The wedding was amazing. The people were so sweet, and the food we were serving was really great, and I just thought, like, this is such a creative challenge. It's something new. I didn't feel... I don't know what it was, but just being in the excitement and the thrill of the party and the music like going while you're cleaning up, and it just felt like, wow, this is a ton of fun and I want to keep doing it. So I ended up getting a job there and never looked back. I always wanted to do catering.
And now your like actual job, you're not doing catering.
Yeah, no, my job I'm doing recipe testing, but I still think that I love, like, when I grow up. When I grow up, I want to.
When I'm a big girl.
When I'm a big girl, I want to have I don't think I want to own my own catering company, but I want to have an event space that has lots of events and catering. But I haven't decided. We'll see when I grow up.
Yeah.
What I want to do.
Insane.
And you?
And me. In college, my first actual job in a restaurant, like getting paid. Because I worked at Panera Bread, but that does count as food service. But
yeah,
that was in high school, and I vacuumed. So I didn't do anything for the food part of Panera Bread. But then I went to a banquet, a country club, and it was like the most beautiful country club outside. Inside, it was so outdated. It was so old. It was in Rhode Island, so it was just like it had its own little like. It was just beautiful. It was so awesome, and per person for like the weddings that we did was like $40 a person for so much food.
That's it.
So I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But then, like, the food was frozen, or like the filet mignon was already pre-packaged, like cut. So like all you have to do is mark it and then throw it in the oven. Like, mind you, that was like the best prime rib I've ever had in my life, like the ones that they made there. But at the same time, like, I was like, what? And then I saw all the numbers, and they're like, this is how, like, there's this whole entire office with just like paper, like journal paper everywhere with just numbers of like, this is how much chicken you need for this many people, and like broke it down, and like they were using the same system for like 35 years, like straight.
And it worked.
And like my chef there, like, shout out to Dave, because he was awesome. Like, he really protected me the whole entire time, because I was the only girl. Like, I was the only young girl in this catering company. Not catering company, it was banquets. And then there was like a restaurant, but like I never even got involved. They tried once, and like I couldn't do. I was like, what do you mean? I need fries now? Or like when you say fire? Like, what are you talking about? Because I was like, why are you calling the order if you don't need it?
Right.
I was just like so confused and like debts. And then I went afterwards to like a farm to table catering company that like I absolutely love, and I see them striving till this day. Love them. Easy, entertaining, woman owned, woman ran. There's men in there too, but yeah, it was awesome. And then I met you. I went to Danielle and I said...
But what city was that?
That was Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, the easy entertaining.
Yeah.
We just have to make sure everyone knows in case they're in Rhode Island.
The country club was Quinessett Country Club in North Kingston. Still beautiful. Like, I would actually still have like an event there.
Your wedding?
I'm not having a wedding. I'm traveling for 6 months. I already decided that that's what I want to do.
I'm just kidding.
I have a GoFundMe. I'm just kidding. I'm not getting married. Anyway, so, but the one thing that I think I just struggled in the catering world was when I hung out with my culinary friends. No one understood it. Everyone's like, what do you mean you don't want to work in a restaurant?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they looked down on me.
Well, they're like, what do you mean you don't want to work in? It's like, what do you
Like,
mean you're going
you
to
don't wanna be a
Danielle
line
to be a
cook?
chef to work events? Like, you're not going to work on the line? And it's like, no,
No, no, that's not what I want to do. And the first time I ever heard somebody telling me that they didn't want to be a chef on the line was my friend Jackie, and she was like sophomore year of culinary school. She was like, I'm not working in a restaurant. She worked at a catering company, and afterwards she's like, I don't want to work in a kitchen. She's like, that's not what I want to do. And like now she's teaching. Like that's
What is she teaching?
I think she's teaching a bunch of things. Like she was teaching baking the last time I was talking to her, in like a school where she like got her she's a registered dietitian, and because she went to that school she became a teacher, so she became a teacher. So like that's another option that like
Right.
I saw people
We need
having.
teachers. We need everybody.
Yeah, like I didn't. It was like the first time where like somebody said that they never want to work on the line, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like I thought we had to. No, I seriously did. No one told me in culinary school like there's so many other jobs. No one did. They were just like, go find a restaurant to go work in.
Yeah, find a restaurant.
And then I found a catering, and everyone's like, what are you doing? What do you mean you're making $100 tips? And I'm just like, well.
You're like, well,
I
this
worked
is
a
what
holiday.
happens.
Yeah.
You work a holiday.
Or my favorite, when me and you would leave at like 6 o'clock. Oh, nice life. And we would say goodbye to everyone. And everyone, nice life. Oh, nice life. You weren't here at 9 a.m.
No, and you weren't here on Christmas Day.
Yeah, like calm down. Hold on, we have a delivery from our ghost host.
So there's 2 in there?
Yeah, there is.
One for now, one for later? So I figure you can check them out.
Why are you cheating?
I'm not. I didn't even see in there.
You can decide, though, which one you want to save for next.
Okay. Okay, so.
Because the guests can be the ones surprised.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thank
I
you.
want you to know what they are.
So our ghost host provided our lunchbox today. So we are gonna have to go back. Well, not go back. Later, we're gonna have to taste it. But I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, change the subject. So
Oh, switch it up. Sorry.
one thing,
Switch it up.
the biggest thing about catering that Dahlia and I were discussing, which she has something to tell me, but we decided to save it for the podcast, is we talk about how much we love catering and events and why we love it, and we'll go into it even more. But one thing that we really don't like about catering, and it's something that some people maybe they don't care about or pay attention to.
I know where you're going.
But the sustainability of it and how much food waste there is, and what can you do to... Can you do anything about it? I mean...
I think the only thing you can do is tell the client how much food you're actually bringing, and then just... if there's extra, just give it to them, and hopefully they're not wasting it after. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't do that, because every client I've been to, I bring so much food because I am just so scared I'm going to run out.
But also, you can't do that for large events. You literally cannot. You have to throw it away at the end of the event. Technically, if you turn a blind eye, you can leave it in the fridge and turn a blind eye to it and say that you don't know what happened to it. But if you're at a big event with a wedding, you are not supposed to send anybody home with takeout with leftovers, because you don't know what they're going to do with it. By the way,
for a lot of people, like it's like I think there's some rule where like you cannot. It's like I don't know if it's a law or not.
I think it's a law in certain states that you are not allowed to. So imagine like you have an event for 500 people.
There's fish,
and you don't know, is it 500 or is it going to be 400? You don't know until the day of. So you have to prepare. Yeah, you have to prepare. And then what do you do at the end of the night when you have 50 portions of fish?
Yeah, and the one thing that we do is feed the staff right away.
Yes.
Right away. Not right away.
Yeah, but there's some chefs who are bitter and they just want to go home and they just throw it all away and tell everyone to load in the van.
There's a lot of servers that, first of all, servers just feel comfortable telling me everything, like literally everything, and they don't mind telling me their whole life. And sometimes I make them like a plate of like all the leftovers, or like a sheet tray of all the leftovers, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. They're like, we hate the chef that throws it out. And I'm like, you know what, I've thrown it out before too, because sometimes I see you guys eating throughout the party and I'm just pissed off.
Yeah, and sometimes you've been at work since 7 a.m. and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you just need to go home.
Yeah, you just need to go home.
You don't have time for the servers to just sit and eat and mingle.
I'm guilty for throwing out food. Like, I'm 100%
I think everybody's guilty of it, but I guess that's the thing, is like, how do you be more sustainable? Another issue for sustainability in catering is if it's a buffet, the table needs to look full because you don't. There's so
like
many, like
horrible.
especially for the rich people. The rich people, they come up, and if their table, even if you know they're not going to eat it, even if you're 100% sure they're not going to eat it, if the table looks slightly empty, even after everybody's eaten, they're not happy.
I absolutely hate that.
You can have the exact perfect amount of food on the table for them for the buffet. Realistically, what they're going to eat, every single person will be full. But if the platters are empty at the end of the party, they hate it.
It's not the best. We just got a message from Ghost Host that one of the things that he gave us has prawns in it.
And Dahlia's allergic to shrimp.
So I guess we're not having that one, which is perfect. Anyway, we keep going back to lunchbox.
Yeah.
It's like we're starving. So let's talk about the event that I literally just did Wednesday.
Yes.
I was helping out a chef, and he told me it's an after party.
Okay, this was the late, like the 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so I was literally leaving my house at like 4:30 because he told me to be there by 6, and then he called me. He's like, actually, just come at 8. And I'm like, all right. So I went, hung out with friends before I got there. Got there at 8, perfect parking right in front. Didn't even have to like pay for parking. It was awesome. And I walk in, and we're chilling, we're having fun. I haven't seen them all together. So like I'm hanging out with the chef, I'm hanging out with the assistant, and we're just chilling. And like the food is great. Okay, it was like fried fish sandwiches, and then it was like ramp biscuits with like French onion aioli and caviar or something like that. And then donuts. So like all these things like are good, and gem lettuce, like a gem lettuce thing. And it's like 9:30, and we order food for ourselves because the people aren't coming till 11. And mind you, I knew that they were doing something, like the group of people that were going to come back and enjoy the party. I just didn't know what it was. So 9:30, we order food. We're eating. We're chilling. We're talking. I find out so much shit that I need to know about taxes when I become a private chef, which is crazy. Gotta get an accountant now. And it's 10:35, and they said that they just ate their entrees. I was like, wait. These people are eating right now, and then they're gonna come back? And I was like, they're eating courses. They're not just eating like.
So where were they?
I'm not sure where they were. I knew they were at a place where there was courses being served. I also signed an NDA for these people, so I know exactly where they were.
Oh, but you can't say.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
So they were there, and there was also a bar there that I could say, because like after they ate their dessert, they hung out at the bar. So 11:15, there was only 6 people left at the bar. So I'm like, if 6 people come back to this place, like, what are they gonna eat? Like
right after a full dinner, after cocktails,
a full dinner, and mind you, it's 11:15 now, and all of a sudden, at like 11:25, they're like, oh, they're not coming back. Not one person's coming back. And I'm just like, and the whole time I felt it in my like gut that it was gonna happen, like the whole time. And the chef just literally was like, you know what? I'm done. Dahlia, I was like, because I told her, I was like, I'm gonna wrap up because you have to be back in the morning. Like I don't have work the next day, so I'm totally down to just chill. He's like, I'm leaving. I gotta go. I was like, didn't I call this? And he's like, we all called it. We all called.
But you had to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pay you.
They paid me, but like it's just it was the most insane thing. It happens all the time, and you don't know how many times it's happened where me and you like do an event, or we're prepping for the event, and they're like, okay, it's gonna be canceled, and you're just like.
And I think it used to really frustrate us when we first started working together, because we were like, what do you mean it just canceled? What do you mean we just have a party tomorrow? Like, you can't do this to us.
Yeah. That's the worst when they call and they're like, there is a 6-person 5-course dinner tomorrow at 6:30.
Yeah, or there's a 50-person cocktail party tomorrow, and it's 9 o'clock at night, and your party starts the next day. And I think back then we were like, who would agree to this? But now we're like, okay, well, money is money. And
yeah,
like,
money is money.
Money is money. You got to do what you got to do.
I have learned, though, to say no to events.
Well, yeah. and you can say no, but other people who are money hungry.
Well, the people that aren't cooking, and I was
And
just
also they
talking
weren't
to
cooking.
the chef about that because the people, not saying all front of the house people that are like doing the events and stuff, but I felt that they don't realize that like it's a lot of work. Even if you tell me you want a potato chip bar for 100 people tomorrow, cool, that's 4 dips. But I still have to do all those potatoes.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still a lot of potatoes. I have to peel them, and then I have to slice them, and then I have to fry them.
But, you know, then there are some chefs who are just going to buy them. You know? Like, everybody's different. There are some
guess it depends on the catering company. Because if I worked for, like, the country club, I think they would order chips. But then, like, if I worked for, like, the sustainable restaurant and catering company that I worked for, we fried our chips.
Right.
And I found the best way to fry them is you fry them per slicing. Like I put the slicer next to the fryer, and I would
slice right over the fryer.
Because if you keep it in water, I'm sorry, we're gonna go into a potato conversation.
Maybe we should save that for another time.
Yeah, we'll totally save it.
We'll save it for another time.
Just don't soak your potatoes.
Don't soak your
Don't
potatoes
soak
in
your
water
potatoes.
if you're making chips.
Or anything.
Yeah,
I don't
just
soak my
cook them right
potatoes.
away.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, one question I have for you.
Okay. Ask.
What is the craziest host of a party you ever had, aside from the one who just doesn't show up?
Oh, that one wasn't bad. Okay, so there's a certain kind of host I don't like, and that's the uncertain ones.
Okay.
That are like, they just have no idea what they're doing, or they're just so indecisive, and then they give you such a hard time. Like, oh, we want to move the table over there. Maybe we won't do dessert till like 8:45, but then like keep talking about dessert, and like maybe we'll move it earlier. Maybe we'll do that. I'm like, I just need an answer, just one answer. But I think the craziest host. I really am. I'm thinking about the one that me and Adam did, and she was psychotic. But then there was
Where was she?
She was in the Upper East Side somewhere.
I think I did this one.
No, you didn't do it. No one's ever been there, and no one's ever been back. No, like, she's crazy. They said that she had 10 assistants in 1 year. She lit her ex-husband's safe on fire so she could just... It was the whole closet, by the way. His safe was, like, in the closet. So she lit the whole entire walk-in closet.
But how crazy was... Like, how is she crazy for you?
She would say something, and then she would turn around and scream. And you're just like, wait, you literally just told us to do that. She was, like, crazy like that. She was crazy like that. And then you know this one. She's crazy. Fetty Wap performed at her event. like it was... And
in the Hamptons.
yeah, he got, like, a $10,000, like, show up. Like, just show up and sing this one song.
No, I think he sang 3.
No, he didn't. He sang one song and
then
just
somebody
kept
else,
doing different verses of the song. And that was his performance.
Wow.
Showed up with a posse. But... she doesn't drink water at any event because she's been invited to like a few events and stuff. She always brings her own water bottle. But on top of that, she made her housekeepers get an HIV test before working. That's illegal.
What?
Yeah. That's like completely illegal. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
And like I worked for her, and like you could tell she's crazy. Like the way she like...
I think for me, my two one, the craziest host I ever worked for on the negative side.
Oh, okay.
She had like, and I actually felt bad for her because I think she had serious OCD where she was so nasty, and everybody got in, we had to take our shoes off, fine, whatever. It was actually only me and 2 servers.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to like reach for the plates. So she's like, oh, no, don't touch them. I don't want you to touch the plates. She didn't even want me to touch the plates while I was plating the food. Like literally.
What kind of plates were they? Do you remember?
I don't know. And then she had this glass, and she pulled the glasses out of the cupboard, and one of them had a chip in it. So the server was like, oh my gosh, she's like, no, throw them all away. So she threw all 12 of them away, and then she made her assistant go and buy the same exact glasses, brand new. And she was like, well, if one of them chipped, they're all going to chip. Threw them away. And I was sitting here.
Can you say who the name is?
I can't say who the name is, but I think it starts with a... No, I think it starts with a V, but honestly, I had only been there once, ever.
Oh, okay.
So I think that... I don't think even you've been there.
No. I
but
don't think so.
She was just so insane. And then at the end of the party, apparently she's never liked she never likes anyone, and she loved me because I think I just got understood, and it didn't make me like, I just felt bad for her. So I was like, whatever she needs, like, this is a serious problem. Like, she was crazy. But the other one, it was somebody in California. I went to an event for, I don't remember what we were doing there, but it was in Napa, and it was so beautiful being in Napa, and they lived in a vineyard.
Oh, I think I remember you.
And I don't know if I can, like, say who this person is, but he bought the house. He bought the house that Robert Mondavi used to live in. And I don't know if you guys know that, but it's a famous winemaker, and it's not the best wine, but it's somebody that
shout out, not the best wine.
But like, a lot of people know who Robert Mondavi is. So it was his house, and this man moved in there with his twin daughters and his wife. And it was crazy. Like, pool inside the house.
That's crazy.
There was this room that I can only imagine was like a sex room. Like, it was disturbing when you walk by. I'm like, little girls live here. All of the animals they've ever owned that had died were stuffed.
No,
and
really?
Decorations in the house. Like, not even together.
Mind you, I'm pretty sure people could figure out who this is because you just said where he lives.
But he had like his dead cat.
No.
Like, I literally was like, oh, a kitty, and it was stuffed sitting on top of the couch, like where a cat would really sit, just on top of the couch. And then a dog, like a little blue what are they, the French bulldogs, a little blue French, like gray French bulldog.
Those are so cute.
Yeah, but it was stuffed also, and it was just peeking, looking out the window, and I was
so
just
crazy.
like,
imagine how those girls grew up.
these little girls are probably so spoiled. Everything's like cheetah print and leopard print, and they have these huge paintings of like, they weren't Salvador Dali, but they were like that style, but of his family. With him and his wife, and like, I mean, the paintings were so bizarre. The art was so beautiful and crazy, and he was just like, they must be the biggest swingers ever. They were like, if you want to stay here, you can stay here anytime. And of course, Danielle's like, Nicole, you are not staying here. Like, he's like,
did you guys taste the wine though? Like, who were they? You just did an event for them?
We did an event for them. It was an appearance. I think he had, like, he was contracted, like, he had to do it for Lexus or something, like a venue, something he had to do, but they were hosting it at this house or something. And we also did 3 events for him. Like, this wasn't the only one we did. Like, we also did another one for something. We just ended up being there. And I will tell you, it was just being in this house, and I swear, like, the husband was more of the female and the wife was the male. Like, you could tell at night after hours they were just like,
we were talking about dominance right now.
They were I mean, she was wearing like a suit and he was wearing this like almost dress thing. It was they were beautiful. It was just so California. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like,
we're harsh over here.
What you would only see in movies.
You know that one event that we used to do, and the guy would dress up in all leather, including his hat.
And you're just like, what in the world are these
shirtless
people?
By the way, guys, like, he's shirtless and he's walking around all leather, like leather pants with like the leather sleeves, but no shirt.
It's so crazy.
Old man too, like old man. I actually wanted to ask the craziest guest, and I think me and you have this one guest that's always at this one event that we would go to, and he would always just talk about Quaaludes. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He's like, I'm such a deadhead.
But like,
and he's like giving us his business card, but he's actually a drug dealer.
And he wouldn't. Yeah, he sold tickets. That was his thing. But he wouldn't hang out with the guests. He hung out with the chefs and the like staff. And he would always come in late, and it was always the same story. Like, my wife is fat, and I'm just like, oh my God.
We're like, excuse me, like, can you leave, please?
Yeah, that was the funniest. That was my.
You think he was the funniest?
I think he's the craziest guest I've dealt with a lot of crazy guests, but
I don't know. I feel like he's probably the most memorable guest.
Very memorable.
Because
I remember his name too.
Yeah, well, I would not recommend saying his name. One of the craziest people that I cater for also, that's not it's strange, but he was really great. But the event was at Pablo Picasso's lover's house.
That's crazy.
And the son was there. Pablo Picasso's son was there.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me.
That's just, they were so nice. I mean, they had his artwork everywhere, and the mother was also an artist, and her artwork.
So his lover, and then the son was there?
Yeah, because it was the son's.
The lover's son.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she's like older, and the son was there. But it was just so fascinating to think, like, Pablo Picasso is such a famous artist, and
yeah, that's insane.
And he has a son. And we're cooking for him, and he was so nice.
Yeah, those kind of homes are like when we worked in Frank Sinatra's old apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's insane. Even though, like, it wasn't nice. Like, I'm just letting everyone know. Like, oh, and also, if you think penthouses are nice, they're not as nice as you think. Some penthouses suck.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely suck.
Yeah, like, what is that one?
Oh, the one with the small kitchen? Yes.
You know what
Politician?
Yeah, and he lived right next to Lady Gaga in the same building.
Same building as Lady Gaga, yeah.
And he's very nice. But
she moved.
Yeah, but it was on, like, Park Avenue. And so the one night we were there, I was like, oh my God, that's Lady Gaga. And it was an imposter.
Oh, I was there with
that?
you. Yes, I do remember that.
When the person she was like walking back and forth.
Yeah, she literally looked like Lady Gaga, but it was just an imposter.
I don't know if it was like a paid imposter so that they wouldn't question where Lady Gaga was, but she was like wearing an outfit. It was actually like a man in stilettos. It was like, what are you doing? You could tell that they were trying to maybe... Anyways,
yeah, it was a distraction for sure.
A distraction, and I don't know if it was her distraction or just like...
But this apartment, apartment we went to was like a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, and that guy, the apartment is so small. It's a 1-bedroom. They just had a baby, and he would be like, I'd make you my wife. And I'm like, your wife is laying in bed right now 3 feet away from us, and you're talking about how you like redheads. Like, it was so bizarre. But he's somebody.
It was a nice event. It's always a nice event. But it was always small, and it was always 10 people or something. It was always more than what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I remember I served, I think, a senator of New Jersey. He's like, you're from Jersey? And I took a picture of him. I don't know why, but I did. I didn't want to. I think he wanted me to, like, I think he was trying to run or something.
Whatever.
I don't know.
This is
Whatever.
so crazy. So what's the crazy host or something really... I mean, I think that there are probably more that we could even come up with later, the more
100%,
we think about it.
100%.
But what about the worst event you ever did? It's interesting because all these experiences, we're not even talking about food.
No, I'm sorry. I think the craziest event would probably have to be the ones... I don't know, because this is the crazy part. It seems like a complete shit show in the back. It is like a complete shit show. But for some reason in the front, it's fine. Like, you didn't know anything bad happened. You know what I mean?
That's the story of our lives.
Yeah, like, we're back at the house for a reason. Like, I'm trying to think do you have one?
My worst event ever was on a boat.
Is this when you were throwing up?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do that one with you.
No, so I had to work on a boat. The waters were really rough that day, and it was a brand new speedboat, but it was a big speedboat. I feel like maybe the biggest speedboat you're allowed to have. I don't know. I didn't know they were allowed to be this big, but there's a galley kitchen underneath. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I'm setting up the hors d'oeuvres, like whatever. Everything was good. They wanted to eat before the boat took off sailing. So they wanted to like chill in the water because they didn't want people like, you know, the wind blowing around while they were eating. Mm-hmm. So we went a little bit out. They floated around, I guess. I don't know what you call it. And then we served.
Nicole's not on boats.
No, I
float around boats.
I love boats, but they were just like, whatever. So I served them. It was okay, whatever. And then the boat started like going. And I was like, okay, I have to clean up. It's fine. Yeah. But they wanted a few hors d'oeuvres passed while the boat was going. So the food service like mostly was at the beginning, but then they still wanted a few things to come out here and there, and then the dessert. And so the water, it was going so fast, and the boat was new, so it smelled like pine. It was like this crazy strong wood smell.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, I'm like trying to focus on what's underneath of me, and I'm trying to clean, and I'm trying to pass the food, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be
Nicole
seasick.
throws up all the time.
Yeah, but
It's her like favorite thing to do.
No, but my
It is your
grandparents. I don't like doing it. It's just something I do. But my grandparents always owned boats. I've never been seasick in my entire life.
A boat sick. You get on a boat,
sick,
you're
yeah.
sick automatically.
No, I've never been seasick in my entire life. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. So I started knocking on the bathroom door, and someone's in there, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. And then luckily, the person's in there. It was Tebow, it was one of my friends, and he was the captain of the event. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, get out of the way. And I go in the bathroom, and I just have to throw up. And I throw up, and then all of a sudden, the boat makes like a hard turn. It's going really fast. It makes a hard turn. And as I'm throwing up, the soap, the paper towels, everything on the sink come flying off, smack me in the head, fall in the toilet.
Oh,
and I'm just like, oh my God. And I hear a loud crash. And all I knew is that everything in the kitchen had fallen over. And I'm sitting there like, what am I going to do? And then somebody starts knocking on the bathroom door. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst event. This is it. Like, This is terrible. And so I have to like clean up the bathroom. And it's a guest who wants to go in the bathroom. And so luckily my friend Tebow knew I was sick. So he was like, oh, I think there's a guest in there. Just come back. And so luckily the guest didn't stay. And I came out, and Tebow is like, the whole kitchen fell over. Everything, all the platters, all the food, everything's on the floor. And except for the dessert, because the dessert was still in the fridge. And I'm like, like, what the fuck is going on? So then I clean up everything. All the platters are broken. Literally everything is broken and destroyed. The boat made this turn so hard. And I wish I would have known, but there's no way of knowing.
Was there any broken glass like at the event? Like, do they have to clean up?
No,
upstairs?
because all of the glasses were still in the crates, in the like.
No, I meant people like holding their glasses.
I don't know. I guess it was fine. I don't know.
Just the kitchen.
Maybe they knew the turn was coming and they were all holding their glasses. But it was just the kitchen because the bartenders kept all the glasses.
I honestly
in
think
the
though
grates.
it was good that you were in the bathroom, because if you were in the kitchen and everything just fell over, I think you would be more upset. I honestly think you would. That's awful though.
And so I just decided, I was like, these people probably have had enough to eat at this point. I am not serving.
I'm wrapping up.
I am done. I'm not serving anything else. And then once it slowed down, I served the dessert on, they had these little teeny plates, and I just served the dessert on individual plates and passed it. But it was like a movie out of hell. And I was so seasick trying to clean up. There were three other servers. Everybody was seasick except for Tebow on that boat. Every single person.
That's so funny.
And because of how, I don't know what it was, because we didn't have any fresh air, and I could see the water just like, I don't know, it was terrible. So yeah, that was my worst event. And the very next day I had to work on another boat. But when I got on the boat, Jean-Christophe knew like how sick I was the day before, and he knew I was so mad that he put me on another boat right away. And that was an amazing event. Jean-Christophe, right when I got on the boat, he was like, here, have a gin and tonic. It's good for seasickness. And I'm like,
oh,
that's very thoughtful of you. He's like, yeah, but only one. I'm like, okay.
It costs more if you have more than one.
Exactly. But actually, like, it was a really rewarding event, and it was a huge boat, and I worked like this amazing, it was like his 60th birthday, but it was amazing. So I think, I don't know what it was. It's just the speedboat. Don't work as a chef on a big speedboat with a little kitchen, and I don't know.
So I do have one bad one. And it wasn't bad for us, but it looked so bad from my eyes, like the whole event. And it was an event that me and you did. And I'm not going to say any names or anything like that. But me and Nicole went down to DC.
I knew you were going to say this.
And
it was a VIP wedding.
It was a very VIP wedding. And I would like to just let you guys know, when you do a first course and it's a soup or a salad, it usually is just done and you put it down and you're done. That's it. Okay. So first course to serve 130 people should only take less than 10 minutes, because they literally have to pick it up and drop it. Like, that's it. Okay. It was front of the house staff we never worked for. And there was a debate for a while. Is this going to be pour over? So like they put the bowl
Soup.
down, pour over soup. So they put the bowl down, and then another group up front of the house comes and pours the soup. Okay, they could do that. Well, somebody decided to put lobster broth into the soup, and there was a lot of allergies. A lot. Like, I mean, out of 130, I would say there was probably like 40.
I think it like ran in the family. Like half the family was allergic to lobster.
And the funny part was we only plated non-lobster dishes, like only 10 of them. Like I remember being like, we need to plate more. And they're like, no, they could get a salad or something. Because we also had a side salad if they didn't want any of the lobster soup or the corn soup. And they decided to do a pour over, but they didn't have a system of like, who's going to know? So I would like to. So the whole thing was a shit show, and it took 45 minutes for the first course to be like served.
And we weren't in charge, so
we weren't in charge.
They didn't even care about our say. It was just like.
And before that, during the cocktail hour, I had every hors d'oeuvre ready to go. Literally every hors d'oeuvre ready to go. And someone decided they want to put pineapple in the ceviche. Nicole, can you explain to people why you don't put pineapple in ceviche?
Well, pineapple has an enzyme, bromelain, that breaks down protein. So literally, if you ever eat pineapple, you eat it, and then you feel this weird feeling sensation on your tongue. It's because the pineapple is trying to break down your muscle fibers in your tongue. And
so what happens to fish?
So when you do it for protein or fish, it just disintegrates it.
And what does this taste like when we taste it?
I don't even want it tasted like throw up.
It tasted like Parmesan. Like it literally tasted
like
it was
this beautiful ceviche, and we were just gonna do like a little bit of the pineapple crumb, on the top, like right before it goes out, just a couple pieces of pineapple. But instead they mix it in like 10 pounds of ceviche, like it's a big wedding. And
the crazy part is everyone was freaking out about hors d'oeuvres. They're like, you guys aren't ready yet, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, we're ready. It's just the way you guys want us to be ready is definitely not the way we do it.
Right. and all of a sudden, it just started mixing the
pineapple.
And 5 minutes later, I kid you not, it was 5 minutes later, it was like working with a puree.
The VIP
like
person
fish.
was like, how come you aren't serving the ceviche? And we're like, we can't. And he said, okay. That's it. We were waiting for like being yelled at.
We were waiting for a screaming fest. This was like the owner. He didn't even. I think somebody had to have sedated him that day.
Yeah,
somebody like slipped him a.
So then the whole event was there. Everyone said the food was great at the end. Like it was fine. You know, we had fun. We went out for drinks after. But me and Nicole couldn't stop laughing about how horrible of an event we thought it was. We thought it was a crazy event.
I thought it was probably, you're right, one of the worst events I worked. Because, I mean, it was just like we had so much.
If me and Nicole were running it, and it's not to just put us on our high horses. If me and Nicole were running it, it would probably be one of the best events.
But the problem is there were too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
That was like
everybody wanted it their way, and they wanted everyone to listen to them, and they were
everyone
all giving
was a
different
manager.
directions.
Everyone was a manager there. Literally everyone was a supervisor in some way. Different parts of the company, but definitely everyone was a supervisor.
And so it just was a nightmare.
We also had one guy in charge of putting Iberico ham on a piece of toast. And it was tomato on a piece of toast. No, he couldn't do it. I don't know why. I was like, Nicole would be like, what is he doing? I'm like, I just don't question it. Just do it yourself.
That's so funny. This stuff that.
Wow, I'm so glad I actually remember that.
Knew when you said, I knew immediately what you're going to talk about. So, what is the best event you ever worked?
Oh my God, we're still on events, huh?
I mean, that's
episode
it.
Of an event.
We want to talk about worst, best, funny stories. Like,
best event I've ever done. I honestly think my intimate events are the best ones I've done. Like when it's like 10 and less, and like the people are just when people come in and say thank you after. That's the best event because I have plenty of those. I hate when the hosts don't say thank you at the end.
Or when they don't even acknowledge you.
Yeah. Oh, that like one lady that comes in and talks to the captain and saying, yes, I want the chef to serve this course at this time. And I'm literally right behind him.
Yeah, and you're
you talk to me. Talk to me. I'm
Yeah.
the chef.
No.
No, but the best events are the ones that I guess the crazy part is, and I was just talking about this recently, I have done so many cool and awesome events, but when I'm thinking about it, like when I'm there, I don't care. I'm like, I need to get this done. I need to do this. And then later on, you're like, wow, like I was in the most beautiful place. I was serving like really awesome
Right.
people. Like that was such a good event. The food was great. Everything looked amazing.
And
Nicole was texting it.
no, I wasn't texting. I was checking our time.
Taking time.
I just want to see where we are so that we
What
don't
was
go
your
over.
best event?
My best event it was a lot of work and it was very difficult, but I think my most rewarding event, it was working at the Boku store.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
And it was probably one of the hardest events I've done because, again, too many chefs in the kitchen. But at the same time, everyone's looking at me because I'm the one who wrote the prep list. I'm the one who did all the ordering and all of this. So not all of it, but I'm the one who was doing a lot of the communication to keep track of it.
Yeah.
So if anything went wrong, they're like, Nicole. And then
Nicole.
everyone's
that's the
speaking
worst.
French.
When
And
Nicole's
so,
at an event, it's Nicole.
yes, because they would all rely on me to have this information. And I'm like,
And which you did.
which I did, and it's true, but it was almost like I couldn't get anything done because
Yeah.
I was the one who had the information, so I had to stop. And anyways, I think that the Boku store was so amazing because it was the best chefs in the world.
Yeah, it's always insane.
It was one of the biggest events I did. It was for 1,200 people. We only did the main course, but I mean,
That's
it was
insane. That's a lot for the main course.
It was crazy. And it was like the night before we were working at Pignol, which is like a huge catering company in Lyon.
Mm-hmm.
And so you met Baptiste. We were working at like
I was gonna say shout out to Baptiste.
yeah, but we were working at his dad's
Awesome
catering
guy,
company.
awesome guy.
Awesome
Yeah.
family. We're working at this catering company. They did a great job, had everything organized for us. Really, they planned on doing our recipes for us, but
Yeah.
that's not how Danielle wanted to do it. We all did all our mise en place for ourselves for 1,200 people with the help of them cutting things. You know, this is how it works. So the night before, he sees the little ramekins. We portion all the sauce
Yeah.
it was a veal course. And he goes through and he's like, too much sauce, too much sauce, too much sauce. And so we're like, chef, it's fine. We just won't add everything. It's already portioned. He's like, no. So we had to go through every single one and scoop out like, what was it? Like 10 grams, like a tablespoon of sauce out of each single one, 1,200 of them. And then the next day when we're plating,
That's
he's
the
like,
point of yes, chef.
yeah, but then next day when we're plating at the event, he's like, not enough sauce. Nothing has enough sauce. Why is there enough sauce? And I'm like, oh, because we stayed all night to fix this for you. So it's just funny. Like, so much hard work, so much yelling, so much. But at the end of the day, it was the first, like, Boku's door since, like,
Yeah.
Paul Bocuse had died. And so this, like, huge tribute to him. And his
Aw.
son, Jerome, is speaking. And it's, like, everybody in the room is, like, has goosebumps and, like, in tears because they're playing this. It's usually... And so it was just this really crazy, special time to be in the heart of France. Not the heart, but, like, you know, the heart of where food... I don't know. It was really special, and I think that that's probably the coolest event I've ever done. Yeah.
I have a quick question. What is something you hate making for an event?
Something I hate making.
Yeah, like I'll tell you what happened with me.
Okay.
And this recently just happened. I had to make hollandaise for 10 people. Okay. Made a beautiful hollandaise. Perfect. But the hors d'oeuvres were 8 different hors d'oeuvres.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing 8 different hors d'oeuvres while watching my hollandaise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
Which we know is not the easiest thing.
No.
Especially when canapé has like 6 different components
Yeah.
just to one little bite. So, and I think I was making potato latkes at the same time. So I'm like making sure everything's Gucci, you know. Everything was great. And the people decided to wait another 20 minutes before they came down. They said no more cocktails, but we're just going to wait another 20 minutes. And this is just asparagus and hollandaise on the fucking plate. Okay? So, like, I need it to look great. And it's 10 people, and I think it was a 7-course dinner. So I was like, all right, okay, cool. I look right before these people start walking down. My hollandaise broke. Mind you, I made like 3 quarts of hollandaise. Like, I made so much hollandaise. And it was so good. It tasted so great. I'm like, oh my God, I have to fix this. I have no eggs. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was like, and I looked at the captain. I was like, get me mayo. Get me mayo. And I just bind it together with mayo. And that's what I did.
And it was probably great.
It was great. But, like, I was just... You don't make hollandaise at an event. Like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe for breakfast for 10 and that's the only thing you have to make. That's, like, It's crazy. Not crazy because it's not hard to make hollandaise. But when you break, like, an emulsion, you're pissed off. Like, you're like... You know how many times we broke mayo?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have to make gallons at a time.
Because you have to make... Well, okay, so the problem about us breaking the mayonnaise is that we had to do it in the Vitamix. For some reason, they wouldn't...
No, they let us do it in the Robocoop.
Eventually, after I said 100 times, this quantity in this blender doesn't work. It gets too hot too fast. Like, let's use the Robocoop. No, I don't want you to use the Robocoop. Why? Because I don't want you to use it. And I'm like, okay, well, it's going to keep breaking. Like, with your ratio to oil, you have way too much oil for the eggs. Yeah. It's going to keep breaking unless we use the Robocoop. No, I don't want you to. And then finally, one day after I got a new position, he was like, yeah, I guess, why haven't you guys been using the Robocoop all along?
But we have people out there that are definitely listening that have broke the mayo.
Yeah, it breaks. It happens.
For sure, it breaks. And I was so mad that, like, because I break aioli. Not all the time because I hand mix it now. Fuck. Not doing it any other way. I hand mix it because I just need to control it. That's it. And it doesn't get hot. Yeah, like, that's just how I'm going to do it. With hollandaise, on the other hand, haven't figured out the way to fix it right away.
You can fix it. I've broken hollandaise before, and if you add wine or mustard immediately, you could add mustard
immediately
and whisk it. But if you don't realize it happened, and it happened while it just was sitting in too warm of a spot or something, then fixing a hollandaise is more difficult.
So nothing was on at the stove, but it was those awful French oven doors that me and you hate working with, and everyone's like, it's so pretty. You know the one that I'm talking about?
It's pretty, but you can't even fit a sheet tray in there.
You can't fit a sheet tray in there, and it's not good. It burns paper. It burns the parchment paper, not, like, paper.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and you have so many different settings, but, like, there's no words to it. It's just, like, a little picture. And I'm just like, all right, cool.
That's a good thing. I don't know what you know what I don't like?
Like, do you like frying at an event?
No, I hate frying at events because your whole body smells like fryer.
Yeah, you just wash your hair. Gotta wash your hair again.
Your hair smells like fryer. But that's not the least favorite thing. I think... Oh, what do I hate? You know what I hate using, and maybe this is just me. I hate using those siphons.
I don't use them. I don't use them.
I don't like... I mean, I will use it in a controlled setting or whatever, but I just...
Controlled setting.
But there's nothing about catering that's controlled. I have been to so many events where we don't have enough gas, or somebody got the CO2 gas instead of the cream, or somebody got this, or it's not cold enough, or it needs to stay hot. Yeah, something about them, I just think they're so inconsistent at large events. It's like...
Yeah, but you know who uses them at events, and this is not shitting on anyone that uses them at events. People that know that we shouldn't use them at events. Like, people that don't do catering.
But it is now that I'm thinking about this, we use that at the Boku store because
for $1,200.
$1,200. It was 2 people.
That's why it was a shit show. Even if it's for 10 people, it's still annoying if you don't have room in the fridge or you have to keep it warm.
But for that dinner, we had 4 separate kitchens, one on each corner, so that each one was technically only in charge of 300 people each kitchen.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 people per kitchen, just in charge of filling and charging the siphons.
Yeah, but that's like such a waste of labor too.
It's a waste. Those people the whole time filling a bottle, shaking, charging, filling a bottle, shaking, charging. And it's like you're going in a circle. Like, okay, I'm done. And I was the one who had
interview the person that has to.
I know, and I was the one who had to put it on the plate, and it's just like. And then I'm like, okay, it's empty. And the person would just follow me the whole time. Like, it was like passing a football. They're like,
I actually think that those things need to, like, I don't know. They never make me feel like, wow, when I see it on the plate.
And you get anymore. 10 orders out of 1?
Yeah. No, I don't get it. I really don't. I never really whip it. Whip it.
Except for that one time in Brooklyn. No,
What
I'm
about
just
that one
kidding.
time? Did I not whip
No,
something?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I don't know what you're saying. Whip it. Oh, hello, ghost host.
Is it Lunchbox time?
Oh shit! What time is it? Is it Lunchbox time? Is it Lunchbox time?
It can be Lunchbox time.
I'm curious to see your reaction to it.
All right, so
why don't you give it to us, ghost host?
yeah,
I don't know if you got my text.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
It rang into the thing.
You're allergic?
Yes. He's like, you're allergic.
I told
Like,
him.
mark, like, you
Yeah.
know.
You know
What is this? That's the prawn
that's what you
crackers.
can't have.
That's the one I can't have.
This might
what in the world is
Is
this?
Nicole gonna be salty about this? Is it canned
this
lychees?
is Nicole's favorite.
What is it?
Macaque.
No, it's not called macaque.
What is it?
What is this?
Macaque.
It's called
So,
macaque.
sweet and sour with chili.
But what?
They described it as like a tangy pickled fruit.
We don't have anything to open it
That'd be
with.
slightly
Use your teeth.
spicy.
I'm nervous. There's a slit. There's definitely a slit.
Yeah, I'm nervous too for you guys.
Where did you get these? Ew, they
Did
look
you go
like
to-
big olives.
From Maya.
Do you want to split one? What if this isn't good and we just have like a big green ball in our hand?
Well,
The lady at Maya said it was good, but
So, smells sweet but pickled.
kind of smells like a pickle, but like a sweet.
'Cause it's pickled.
Ready? That's crunchy.
that was a nice slurp.
I don't like it at all. I can't even eat it.
It tastes like the
It tastes gross.
little French pickles.
No, it does,
Does
not.
not taste like a little French pickle. You have a little French pickle.
That's so
No.
funny.
I have a macaque.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not very good.
I'm putting it on your notes. Can I?
Yeah. Is there a seed inside? It reminds me of like an olive.
Here.
No, I have a lot.
Yeah, just give it to me. I'll wash my hand.
Thank you.
You spit it out.
Thomas just took my spit out of my cock. So this is spelled, if you guys were wondering, M-A-K-O-K.
So-
M-A-K-O-K.
This little store next to us, I mean, it's like 2 streets over,
I need water.
has like a lot of little specialty Asian ingredients, and I really like it.
This
But
would be good shaved. You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel like we need to cut
we
into
can't
it.
eat the whole. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That was a nice like break to the. What in the world? They almost look like little peeled kiwis.
That's what I thought he was giving me. I'm like, kiwis again? Kiwis again?
Oh yeah, because we did the
We
little.
did the kiwi berries, and I was not a fan of those.
And they're sweet and sour. Okay, never again will we eat macaque. Okay, so another thing we want to talk about is tipping. So catering companies.
Okay,
so you-
I'll go into how I started getting into the tipping. When I worked at the country club, I knew gratuity was a thing because people talked about it, but only the managers got it, which makes sense. Okay, I got it. It was a banquet hall. The managers are doing all the work. I literally am just there to put mashed potatoes on a plate. Like I wasn't doing much.
Right.
And I was also 18 years old. I didn't care. But then I started working for a small company, and they made sure that we got our tips. And I thought even $50 for the week was enough. Like, I didn't think about it. I didn't realize gratuity was that important, but I was getting it. And one time I got like $300 in a month, and I was just like so happy about it.
So our tipping policy at my first catering company was everybody gets. So the gratuity goes to the company because most often they just pay on the bill.
Yeah.
They don't pay it to people.
Yeah.
So everybody would just get a baseline $20 gratuity.
20% or $20?
$20.
Okay.
And so that's what it was. At first it was if you get a tip, you get to keep it.
yeah.
If you don't, it
But
goes to the company.
That's because catering companies get like so screwed over because of taxes at the end. And that's why they stopped doing that.
Why they stopped giving
why they stopped letting you keep it without recording it.
Right.
They have to start recording it because so they don't get screwed, because I guess the IRS knows for sure that people get tipped.
Right.
Which is crazy.
So they
let
changed,
us keep it.
They changed
Just
it to
let us
that,
keep
and then
it.
it caused a lot of issues, and
Yeah.
people were angry because it's like, well, you got a big tip. It's like, but last time you still got money, but even though we didn't get a tip, and so that was the policy. A lot of people didn't agree with it. I don't know if it's what I would have chosen, but I wasn't mad about it because if you do events every week, you're like, okay, whatever. It adds up.
$20. Well, then we did an event she started doing for any event over $2,000, it was an automatic 20% gratuity. And they knew who was prepping that event and who was serving. And they knew everything by that because there was so many different people involved. But then when I went to Danielle and I was like working, I would be doing the prep all morning. And then you would go to the event and collect the money. And
Yeah.
I think that was like messed up. But at the same time, I don't have a say.
Right.
Because
it's whoever's face is there.
Yeah, but one time I was so mad at this point. The chef like refused to let me go to events. Like refused. And I don't know why. And I remember I came in early, set up the whole entire cabinet, like had everything ready, and all we had to do was just drop it off. Just drop off. Not even set up, just a drop off. And I remember another chef went to go drop it off, came back and was like, I got $350. And I was just like, what?
And you're like, what in the world?
Like, why couldn't I just go drop it off? Like,
right.
What? That's so wrong. So I think, and I think you'll agree with me, I think the chef of a catering company needs to be the one to address the tipping when it comes to his staff or her staff. I came with a really good company back in Providence, so like she knew right away. But when it comes to like bigger companies, I think the chef needs to say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because companies, they get stuck in their ways of keeping it. And then it's like, what do you do how do you treat it evenly? And I think another issue is that a lot of the time, as we've seen, is that the front of house are the ones who receive the tip.
Yeah.
And then they never distribute it to the kitchen. There's
some
three in the back,
some
then they split it for them in the front, and they don't share it. And it's like, oh, well, the chefs never get it because the chefs.
This is the excuse I heard actually last week. They get overtime. Yes, we get overtime
because we work it overtime.
Because we have. Do you not realize, like,
right.
Just because I'm working 14-hour days and you're working 4-hour days means you collect all the tips? Like, I get what you're saying because I'm getting the overtime, but I worked the 14-hour day. So what do you mean you keep the money?
If you also worked 14 hours a day, you would get overtime, but you don't.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, that was the excuse I heard. And yeah. I was so awed by it. I wasn't awed by the person that said it. Definitely not. Mm-hmm.
I have another question. What is the worst catered meal you've ever had? Like, okay, so we talk about catering. A lot of people just assume, catered food is what?
Good.
Just like,
okay,
no, not good.
One.
They imagine it's just like steak and potato, or if you're in Maryland, a crab cake.
And thank God I don't even know who was getting married. Like, I don't even know these people. My friend invited me to a wedding that he was going to in Brooklyn, and I was his date, and I love his family, so I was just like so excited. And we smoked a blunt, okay? And we had I know me. We had the craziest munchies. And I'm going to a wedding. And what do I do for a living? Cater. So I'm just excited because there's food and there's drinks and we're going to have so much fun. And then whenever I have munchies, there should be food on every corner. Tasted every hors d'oeuvre. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It was supposed to be like a Southern themed dinner theme was Southern. Okay. I'm not even joking. They did cocktail for like a half hour. There was no table seating. It was just sit wherever, but not enough tables for everyone, which I don't really get. Just have it assigned. Who cares if it causes drama?
I'm interested in, we'll have to talk about this for my wedding, what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Do I assign?
Yes.
Yes. You think, no, I was under the impression that I could just tell people to sit wherever.
No.
Except for the family. I would assign.
Exactly, though. How do I know that it says reserved just for the family?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then what? Your mom doesn't want to sit next to her. You know what I mean? Like, you know
My mom-
exactly. So like it does suck that table setting is important at a wedding. It really does, because like I sat down and I felt bad because I felt like his whole family, like the elderly, they're not that old, but like
Right.
felt like they needed to sit, but there wasn't enough seats for the whole family and their significant others to sit either. So we were just like, standing around. Like, it was fine. It was fine. Then the food was ready, and it was buffet style. Cool. I like a buffet because you go out more than once. Love it. Cold pasta. The sternos weren't on. The sternos were not on. Okay? The sternos weren't on. Even if it was hot water inside, there was no hot water. I think it was cold water. I don't think they even thought about it.
Like, they started with cold water.
Yeah, they definitely started with cold water. So that was awful. It was bow tie pasta with like canned tomato sauce.
Just that's it. No love. No.
And then there was
nothing.
like the penne vodka one that was dry. Like, I actually remember this. Then, so it was only 2 pastas, and I remember really, really, really overcooked asparagus.
Ew.
So like, don't serve it. And then prime rib and chicken. They literally give you half a chicken. And I was like, okay. So I think I got the chicken so dry. I think they cooked it 3 days ago. Like, it was so bad. And I don't even remember dessert. That's how we ate tacos afterwards.
Did you dessert was probably
The
cake?
cake. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's usually something else and the cake.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was so bad. Like, it was like me and my friend literally ran to the taco shop to get tacos.
You're like, I'm starving. I can't eat this.
And also on top of that, the taco shop served rice with shrimp powder in it, like the Goya shrimp powder. And I was like, something has shrimp in this. Like, I got like carnitas or something. And I was like, something has shrimp.
With rice on the side?
Yeah, I was like, something has shrimp. Like, I could taste it. And it was the rice. And I was just like, and my friend was like, just keep eating the tortilla. And I kept eating tortilla and I was fine. But like, come on. I was trying to just eat. I was trying to grub. Like, I was excited to go to a wedding with my friend. We were going to have fun and like chill. It was awful. Anyway, what was your first catering meal?
Well, I have to think about what my worst catered meal was. I just was wondering, because so often we think about like how we're doing, but when you look at what other people do, you're just
I
like,
know.
oh, what are they doing? But I was recently listening to the Tiffany Haddish. I don't know if you've listened to like her comedy. And somebody told me that Tiffany Haddish brought fried chicken to the Met Gala.
I would too, though.
And
I
was thinking to myself, I was like, what year? Because we catered the Met Gala.
No, but that doesn't even matter because they can't eat the whole time. So it does suck.
Yeah, and maybe it's something she doesn't even like, or maybe she's talking to someone the whole time.
Yes.
But apparently she brought fried chicken and put it in her bag, and she said she brought 20 pieces of fried chicken, and she ended up giving them all out, and she only got like one for herself or something. But it was hilarious to me because I'm like, oh my God, was I catering that Met Gala where it wasn't enough food? But turns out it wasn't. It was a year that we did not do it, which was like 2 years ago.
I think I know the catering company that usually does it, though. I think it's Union Square.
No, I don't think it was Union Square. I looked it up. It was another one that I've heard of. It was
it
like
Edge?
occasions. Oh, maybe it was Edge. I don't remember what it was. It was a bigger one, like a really big one. Not Union Square or us.
Also, side note, I was dying to work for Abigail Kirsch when I was in college.
Yeah?
Dying to
And
work.
why didn't you?
I don't know what happened. I really don't. I think I was just like, but then we worked in their kitchen like 4 years later after I was dying to work there. And I'm glad I never, like, I think I would have liked working there because like I do know a few people that work there and they said it was awesome and like the events are just insane. But I don't know. I think I'm glad I didn't work there. I think one catering company was enough, honestly. And then I did too. So
Yeah.
like I think it was enough.
I think I would have liked to work for her because seeing how like a female leads events, I think that they're a little more.
She leads the events anymore, though. No, I think we met the executive chef when we did the, what's the wine event? The champagne one.
The Fête de Champagne.
Yeah,
That's another event that is really cool.
yeah, but that was that place. That was Abigail Kirch's kitchen. You knew that, right?
Really? No,
Yeah.
but that was Pier 60 that we did that at.
Yeah, but that's their kitchen.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Really? Yeah, that's their kitchen. I was like shocked too.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, so La Fête du Champagne, I think my first year in New York, it was one of the coolest events. Not because of the event, but because we got invited to the after party. And I thought that was
the
like...
after parties are fun.
The after party was so fun. We entered through the kitchen because we went with the kitchen staff. And there were like people passed out on top of the pass. Like just because by the time we got out, it was late after the event.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny. Like...
This isn't the after party at the Vinyl. What was that?
No, that was before they brought it
I hated
to
you
Legacy
that
Records. Day. You hated me?
No, because I was getting harassed by one of the chefs.
Oh, yeah. And I...
Shout out to Nicole not helping a girl out.
No, okay, so I started, but then I was confused about what was going on.
No, there was no confusion. For me, there was definitely no confusion. I said, nah.
And he said, please.
No, please.
No, he said, "Girl,
was,
you are coming home with me."
No, it was so, and that was the worst. We're definitely gonna edit this.
Yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. We're done with that. So we talked a lot about, events some things I wanted to say, like this one event I did in another event in California, which was actually the same week as the Napa Valley one I talked about with the crazy guest who stuffed his animals and used them as decoration in his home.
That's so weird.
I did this event. We did it every year. I'm not supposed to talk about what it is, but it's this huge event for super VIP client. And he's like crazy. Chef was obsessed, like just they're great friends. And we do it every year. And this year in California, not this year, but whatever it was, like 2-3 years ago, I get there from being somewhere else, from another event in California. We worked all night. Basically, I didn't really get to sleep at all. And so then we had to leave Napa to go to, where was it? Santa Barbara. Yeah, to go to Santa Barbara. And so I'm exhausted because the time changed and because I didn't get to sleep the night before, really. And so then we go straight to Santa Barbara. I get there. Everybody's already there. They've been there for a couple days because I had to go to another one. And they immediately start asking me questions. Nicole, where's this? I'm like, you guys have been here for 4 days and I just got here. Like, I don't even know the answer to that. And the whole time, Nicole this, Nicole that. It's a huge event. So it's like it's this so much space. So you're running back and forth all day from this kitchen to that kitchen to setting up. Uh-huh. There were stations outside. The course, I'm getting screamed at like, faster, faster, when we're trying to go fast, but I couldn't because I had to use that stupid ISI gun and it just it wasn't charged, or whoever made the sauce didn't work. And so I'm trying to do it and my chef is next to me and I'm left-handed, so I do things a different flow than other people.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And I was working on my own station by myself, so everybody was getting one dish per person, and then there was like a shared plate, basically, that would go down in the middle of the table. Uh-huh. Like the couscous was enough for a whole table, or for 4. It was enough for 4. So ideally,
I hate those events.
Ideally, what is that? That's like 100 plates that they're putting out, and I had to put out 25 in the same amount of time. Fine. But the gun wasn't working. I'm going in the opposite direction because the way the table's set up. And so then chef is trying to help me, and every time I turn, he turns and knocks it out of my hand on accident because I'm going left and he's going right. And 5 times. And then somebody is like, Nicole, are you okay? What's wrong? And I'm like, I just need him to get away from me. And he heard me, and I was just like, okay. And at the end we have this like big ice cream bar, and I had to set up the ice cream bar, and I
hate ice cream bars.
I know, me too, but it was actually pretty nice. And I knew we had a special guest, somebody was going to be singing. And all of a sudden they bring out a piano, and it's Alicia Keys, and she's singing. She probably got paid like
so much, like 30.
Like 30,000 just to sing 2 songs. And the song she sung was New York. And I don't know why. It was like one of the most stressful events I ever, and you know me, this is not like me, one of the most stressful events ever. And I'm like, finally get away from everybody because I had such a stressful day. I literally started crying. And Josh Coe comes up to me because he was the captain. He's like, girl, are you crying? And I'm like, leave me alone. He's like, okay. And he just walks away. And I'm just like, I don't know why. Because she sings, and I don't know what it was. But I was like, this is so rewarding to be like, it made all the hard work just worth it to see Alicia Keys perform just for 2 songs.
I saw
but
Alicia Keys perform during an event.
And it's just so special.
So weird.
And Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom were there, and I'm like, this is awesome. I got to serve them ice cream. But at the end of the day, it was just like, this was such a crazy event, and all day you get screamed at. But then at the end, you're like, the risk, not the risk, but at the end, all the stress you went through was worth it. But it's like, I don't know. I cried. I don't even cry. Like, maybe I worked at Danielle for 5 years. I cried maybe twice.
I was just thinking on the car ride over here how I was having an anxiety attack and crying in the locker room, and you're like, I'm gonna get an anxiety attack and cry in here too. I gotta go.
Yeah, it's just like, it's people cry. It sucks.
I cried.
But I'm not. I usually just can't. Like, sometimes I can't even cry even if I try. But like this time, I'm literally there's 500 people in the room, and I'm crying, and Josh goes like,
Alicia Keys definitely appreciates that. Definitely.
So that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say to that.
So I want to go back to restaurant versus catering.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose not to work in a restaurant?
I chose not to work in a restaurant because once I saw, and I think this conversation kind of
happened before?
No, I think this conversation kind of explains to people that you get you get a lot more out of your life when you're catering, because you get to travel, you get to see every building, you get to see the insides of, the Met, you get to see the inside after hours of these crazy
sometimes you
huge
don't see
churches.
The inside of anything.
No, and sometimes, you do work in a closet inside of Lacoste, inside of a building, and it's not even, or in the elevator room.
Screw the Lacoste event, because all the servers got a Lacoste shirt except the cooks. How does that make sense?
But I think that's it. Like, once I saw that you could travel and you see a different place, you're like, this is what I want to do. I'm still cooking. It's a creative challenge.
Yeah.
You're really pushing yourself in every way possible.
You have to improvise everything.
Yeah, improvise.
You have to literally, if something bad happens, you just have to learn you're cool.
But what is something that's a chef who's only ever worked on the line? They don't have these stories. No. They can't talk about being on a boat, or they can't talk about, I don't know, traveling.
Fire at the Met Gala.
Fire at the Met Gala. We're not even allowed to have fire. And chef is saying, fire, fire. And you're like, shut up.
No,
we're not allowed to have fire. But it's true. And these are funny stories. And you don't get to, maybe you get to meet Alicia Keys because she comes into the restaurant, but you don't get to hear her perform after. Yeah. You don't get to see how happy a bride and groom is right after you catered their big day. I think those are things that me and you, we appreciate more than just.
I think it's also more of a teamwork.
You have to rely on your team.
No, you have to rely on front of the house. Obviously in a restaurant you have to too, but you're literally touching the servers. You have to make sure everything is on point. And it's also the event planner, literally there's way more people than just the cooks and servers at an event too. There's the florists, and you get to know the florists or the musicians, and it's just a lot. I have met so many drivers and security because they're always there, and you have to feed them too. The other day I did an event for a perfume shop, and there was a guy just sitting there because they just needed somebody to just sit and watch the staff.
It's so crazy.
They hired him to just sit there and watch us. And he wasn't wearing a uniform or anything. He was wearing normal clothes, and he was just sitting there. And that's it. That was his job. It was just to make sure that we stay in the elevator shaft area. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, the food looks so cool. I'm like, you could eat the food. You could taste the food.
Yeah, if you're hungry, it's fine.
He was just so excited about it. So yeah, catering, love it.
Yeah, I think that,
I think it's very rewarding. I think it's rewarding when the client comes back to you, says that was amazing, that was the best food ever. I wish I could have you back monthly.
But what do you think about the fact that chefs who like to cater don't get the same recognition that maybe a chef in a restaurant gets.
Well, yeah, Nicole, we were side-eyed the whole entire time.
I know
we
that,
were
but
catering.
why? Like, do you think that
They think they're
not
better
that I
than
wanna
us. They
become-
think they're better than us. And this
They
is
do.
for all the line cooks. You guys think you're better than us. And I get it. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys do long hours and you do it straight. But like
they can't canal ice cream. They can't
150 ice creams.
quickly. They can't. Like, even the executive, some of the chefs are like, I can't do that. They don't know.
Yeah.
It's like they can't
And I do it
be
with
out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I do it with such flow. And that's like not me being confident. That's just me being like, I know how to do it with flow. Even if there's a mess up, like the hollandaise breaking the other day, I just fixed it with mayo. I wasn't cursing. I wasn't throwing pots and pans because you're in someone's home. I like literally, and I think it taught me to just be like calm. You have to show your calmness. You don't know how many clients are like, oh my gosh, you're so calm and quiet. Bitch, you don't know me.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not inside.
No, I'm not. Like, I'm definitely not. But like, you have to be like a completely different professional, like, ness than you are in the kitchen, like with all.
Yeah, you have to have more grace.
And now I'm a private chef, and I'm learning how to be more calm and collective because like my boss was usually a chef, and now I am the chef, and the only boss is the person that hired me, and it's their home, so that's my boss.
Right.
So it's like I'm learning a different way. Like I can't curse because there's children around. Like I can't say things like I used to. We can't say, oh, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Like you can't say that anymore. Like,
yeah.
You know, I don't mind that obviously because I am growing up. So I guess that's fine. I don't have to be immature. I can be immature with you. And that's why we have Quiche My Ass, because we can be immature here.
Because we can do whatever.
We could literally say whatever you want. We
share whatever we want.
Yeah, we love the feedback we've been getting. Thank you so much for listening. And Nicole, you want to say anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think the next time you plan an event or
go to an event
or
someone asks you to do it,
just appreciate that it's different. It's a different.
And if somebody asks you to do an event and you've never done it and you're just nervous or something, just do it.
Text us.
Yeah, text us. Yeah, ask us. We'll definitely give you a play-by-play. Nicole has invoices ready for you to just fill out.
I'll just send you an expense report and we'll figure it out. No, but I think that's one thing. And to our chef friends, through COVID, a lot of people started working on events and private chef and stuff. And they would always ask me, like,
oh, and now they're appreciative about catering world.
Now they're like, how do you know how much chicken you need for 35 people? And I'm like, I'll help them with the math and do it. And so if that's something that people need help with, like, hit us up. We can do the
we're
math.
here. Hit us up on @KishiMyAssPod on Instagram and on YouTube. You could check us out, watch our videos. We're always recording, and thank you so much. See you next Monday. Wow, wow, wow.
Bye.